FundsIndia உங்கள் முதலீட்டு தேவைகளுக்கான ஒரே இடம். Mutual funds, stocks, NPS, fixed deposit, insurance மற்றும் பல.
At the very outset, I like to congratulate you because you have crossed 2 hurdles, okay? Now the third one and the final one. But the third one also is important. After all, it carries marks. How much? 275. So it's not a small, you will have a missing of a few marks. Fraction of it, people make it or lose it. Now, your interview is since after, have you got your dates? Interview begins from 31st of this month, 30th of this month. Okay. Where is the interview? All in Delhi or some other places? All in Delhi. Okay. Now, at the beginning, I will try to give you some tips about your interview. Then I will address your questions, which you have, because questions will be long. I know that you will have many doubts or questions which you can ask. But let me just share with you some basic tips which you must keep in mind when you are going to face the interview. You know this is a personality test, isn't it? Your knowledge has been tested through your prelims and main examination. Now this is the test of your personality. And here, answer to a question asked by the board is important. But equally or more important is the way you answer, your approach to the answer, to approach to the question. You must realize it. It is a test of your personality, not the test of your knowledge. Knowledge, of course, if you are dumb, that's different. You would not have been dumb. After all, you have cleared 2 tests. So I'm sure you are not. Now, what is personality? That we have to keep that in mind. We must have a clarity about what is personality, which will be tested by the board. Our personality one is a physical aspect, okay? So, physically, you have to, it means what? You are presentable, you shouldn't be lousy, you must understand, you shouldn't be lousy, you shouldn't be looking lazy, down, you must exuberate energy. What is expected of people of your age is energetic. So you are alert, alive, energetic, and presentable. As a civil servant, you will be meeting people in various capacity, wherever you are. In public, you will have a lot of public dealings. You have a dealing with offices. Now, there are people who are, who remain too insular. There's somebody here, it is an introvert. Extrovert doesn't mean who talks too much. I'm not saying that one expects a civil servant to be extrovert too much. The question is, your appearance, your personality, when somebody meets you, should feel comfortable meeting you. You should not be one who should be intimidating people. Oh. That means what? That means you don't have it, develop it. You have time, if necessary, force the smile. Sit down. Now, I'm sure there's gentlemen candidates would be wearing suit. Many of you would be wearing suit first time. Better practice it. You should not, because you will be conscious of your dress. That will be a distraction. Ladies, of course, will be wearing saris. So, those of you who don't know how to wear sari, better get comfortable wearing saris, because that is the more appropriate dress would be there. And gentlemen, If you already have your suit stitched, well and good. If you don't have, it's getting late, get it done quickly. A well-fitting suit. Shouldn't be a lousy one. You shouldn't go for try to avoid having the ready-made from the shop you pick up and put on, because that will, your appearance will look lousy. When you enter the hall interview board, the first look of you will be something which will form the mind of a person. Of course, subsequent conversation and all will be important, but you must have a presentable look, so get a suit stitched quickly, because you don't have much time. Tailor also will take time. Shouldn't be gaudy, too loud color suit. No, absolutely red jacket. No, it should be sober, sober color. Avoid having check, as try to have plain. If you have check is okay, doesn't matter. Because I'm giving you some practical things that you need to, which bears in mind of the interview board when they see a candidate. So the physical aspect of you, I have discussed. Now, then your intellectual and emotional aspect. Intellectual is when a question is asked, when board puts you a question, don't be in a hurry to respond. If one who responds very fast is not considered good, by the way. Because that means you are not applying your mind fully. As a civil servant, you are supposed to assess the situation before you take a decision. If your decision cannot be, if your answers are quick, nobody is going to ask you who is the Prime Minister of India. Okay? They will ask you questions which will involve some thinking. So whatever question is asked, first listen and process the question. Don't be in a hurry to give the answer. Because a speed in answer is not a mark of your merit. At times it can go against you. That here is a person who is impulsive, who is just prompt reacts. You have to think and process. Okay? When a question is asked, invariably the question will be of a nature where you will be giving your assessment, your opinion. Now, here, a note of caution. Your assessment, your opinions are fine, but you should not be opinionated, should not sound opinionated. What is the difference between opinion and opinionated? Difference is when you have rigid views you have made. Most of the questions which will be asked are of relating to real situation, real life situations. Now, on that you are not, you are not familiar with all the aspect of that issue. You would have only read the newspaper, okay? Somebody might have given you a talk. You might have read in a book. But every newspaper opinion, every op-ed is an opinion of somebody. It is not the fundamental truth. You must realize it. So these are all opinions. So based on those, but they are the input. So these opinions should form your opinion. But should a new thing come, you should be open to change your opinion, your assessment. Not that, nahin, sir, come what may, this is what it is, this is what right. No, that's not. That is the difference between opinion and opinionated. Opinionated means you have already formed your view so rigidly that this is not a good sign. Because as a civil servant, right from the beginning till through your career, whenever you will be taking decisions, Multiple days, every moment will be, every day he will be virtually, practically taking. So some facts will be brought to your notice. If tomorrow some more facts come which require review of your decision, you should be open to review the decision. You should not be, no, I have taken, this is what it is. That's not. That is opinionated. I am telling you, these are personality traits. Some people are become, you should also realize that you are potential civil servant. You are not activist. Right? Activists can say whatever they wish. They can write whatever they wish. They can shout whatever they wish. You are potential civil servant. You are going to civil service. And as a civil servant, your personal views have significance only for internal communications. Whichever position you hold, you have a view, you share with your colleagues, your seniors, but once a decision is taken, is the final. So government policy, don't be critical of Government of India policy, okay? Some people in their anxiety to show that their intellect, they start dissecting the Government of India policy. Oh, this policy is faulty policy. No. That means you may be good for being an activist, but you are not good for being a civil servant. Understand? Are you getting my points? Have your opinion, but when you are expressing it, it must be that this is the material you have based on which it appears that this is the right course. That means here is a candidate who is answering the question and he or she is framing the response in the context of inputs, the information, the fact that he or she has. That means you are forming evidence-based opinion, evidence-based assessment. And that's why in the note of caution, don't get carried away by some op-ed. There may be a big person who is maybe a high-profile person. He has written or she has written, which means nothing. You are you. You are not that person. Howsoever high or mighty a person may be, or a scholar the person may be, that his or her opinion is only an opinion. It is not the final truth. So, in your response, you should not sound opinionated. Never be critical of Government of India policy. At the same time, when you are defending the Government of India policy, you should not be sounding as a rabid defender in the sense that any policy which is framed is a policy for the society, framed by the human being. There is always room for improvement. Howsoever, no policy is a 100% distilled, foolproof policy. Even if the policy is good, at implementation level you will have problems. There are problems. So, a good policy doesn't have a leg of its own. It has to be implemented by the implementing agency. And if there are problems in the implementing agencies, those problems are equally important. Policy alone is not enough. So, when you are making any kind of observation, if somebody question is asked, I am just putting you up there. Board can ask any question. What is your opinion on Mahatma Gandhi rural employment guarantee? Should it be there or should it not be there? Or how do you think that this is it a very, very sound policy? Now, what should be your response? Your response should be that yes, sir, this is a policy which through poverty alleviation, because there are people, a lot of people who are In our country, we have a sizable number of people who are very poor. Now, this scheme is essentially to benefit them. It also meets the requirement for the right to work. It also fulfills that. And that way it has helping the poor in getting job through which they earn some money. So it is improving the livelihood standard of the people, of the poor people. So this policy is good. Now, on the question, so further is asked, are there any? Then you can say, okay, I know identification of right kind of person, the genuine beneficiary and all those practical, now that we have got, everyone has got account holder, so the prospect of money being pilfered in between is also reduced significantly. And but what I'm saying is, even when you are coming up a policy, first thing is you don't have to be hard critic of a government policy. Avoid being criticizing the government, central government policy. Your opinion, suppose if you feel something, put it in a way that appears that you are going further improving on it. Understand? That policy is good, you are making it better. Your suggestion. This is how it can. That's okay. That's to that extent it's fine. But don't be critical of it. Okay? Now, keep these. Suppose if a question is asked and you don't know the answer, it can happen. Because the board can ask any question. Very easy to ask a question. If the board people sit on the other side and you start asking question, half the question they will not respond. So it is their privilege to ask any question that they wish. So there is a fair possibility that you don't know the answer. If you don't know the answer, the world is not lost. Don't say, oh my God, now what do I do? Now I am going to fail. That should be there. You don't know the answer, think over it, take time, pause, and then don't feel shy, afraid, sir, I am not prepared for this. I don't think I will be able to give a satisfactory answer. Don't say, I don't know. I don't know. Instead of saying that I don't know, I say, sir, I don't think I have enough material to give a satisfactory answer. Understand? So when the question is asked, you do not know the answer, and put it with a confident face, smiling. Don't feel shy about it. And don't feel that, okay, now I have not answered the question, so the interview board will think that I am a dumb person. No, it's not. Nobody knows. If you start asking question to me, maybe 70% question I will not know. Answer I won't have. So that doesn't mean. Nobody is know all. We are all human beings. You have to psychologically, mentally convince yourself that people, those who are sitting in the board at the high positions, at your age, they were as good or maybe may not be as good as you are. Over the years, they have grown. So don't get intimidated by the board. Okay? Now, basic things that you keep in mind. Basic things. Your appearance. Keep a smiling face. Be properly dressed. When a question is asked, don't be in a hurry to respond. Process the question. If you don't know the answer, say, I am afraid, sir. I don't think I have sufficient material to give a satisfactory answer to this question. I don't know. I'm sorry. And I'm afraid this is good enough. No. The answer, because it is also a test of your communication ability. Written communication, they have tested you. How are you in oral communication? That is also a test of your personality. If a question is asked, don't start giving a long theory. This is why it is, that is why. No, these are why you can write theory is okay. Try to be brief. to the point that you have expressed yourself. Because brevity is also a mark that how, suppose if a question, the answer can be made short. If you are going a too lengthy an answer, they will cut you short. Either they will cut you short or they will say, oh, you are not capable of expressing your thing concisely, briefly. Do that. Now, and even till the end, suppose if you are the question, first question asked, you don't know. Second question asked, you don't know. Third question you would ask, you don't know. You don't have to get flustered. Oh my God, 3 questions, now I am gone. There are people who have, of the 10 questions, 7 questions they have not answered, even then they have got 60% mark. It is not, as I told you, it's not important because you are giving. It's not important what your answer. The important is how you approach the question. I'm sure you will be able to give some reason, something you will say, but then say, sir, I don't think I am fully equipped. I am fully equipped to give a satisfactory answer. I am not satisfied. Good enough. That is the mark of your personality. So remember, this is your personality test. This is not your knowledge test. Okay? Keep these things in mind. Now, you ask, I'm sure you will be having questions in your mind. You shoot the question. I will respond, and that question will be actually the answer will be for everyone. Because there will be, everyone won't have one, so the question will be almost common. So if one person asks, that answer is applicable to all. Listen carefully, attentively. Yes, come. Okay. Yeah.
So, good morning, sir. I'm going for my 4th UPSC interview. Yes, sir.
By now, you don't have to fear.
No,
you
sir.
have seen them.
Fear is not an element. Actually, sir, even after going to 3 interviews, I am not able to decode what UPSC is expecting out of a candidate. So, my question to Your Excellency is, sir, have 2 questions. One is, what is UPSC is looking for in a candidate? And what is UPSC is not looking for in a candidate? And the second question is, what does the UPSC panel like in a candidate? What they don't like in a candidate?
His question is, UPSC, since he's an experienced, he has already faced 3 interviews, he is questioning, his mind is, why, what is that? The question the UPSC is looking for. First and foremost, you should realize that your result will be out of your total aggregation, your main and interview. How much marks you have secured in this. Suppose if you have not fared properly very good in your mains, interview can pull you up, even if it is good, up to a point. So it is a balance, it is a addition of the 2. So that could be a factor. That could be a factor. I'm not saying that is the factor. Now, what the UPSC looks for in a candidate, it is looking for a potential civil servant, a civil servant who is intelligent. Intelligent means the person is intelligent in approaching a problem. Because you will be dealing with problems only. Wherever you are, whichever field, problems only will come. How you are approaching the problem. That is where I said, I am just repeating what I have already said. You should not be in a hurry, in a rush to respond. You must process the question. And when you give an answer, don't give a blank answer. You give a answer supported by the reason. You are saying so because of such and such reason. Now, this is one thing which is you have to bear in mind. I'm just repeating it. That UPSC is looking for a civil servant. UPSC is not looking for an activist. Is not some. You may be human rights activist. You may be freedom activist. You may be environment activist. Activism has no place in civil service. Activism is, it often borders, it may be for a good cause, but good cause, as a civil servant, you are a part of a larger whole. You are not an independent, autonomous entity. You must learn to behave as a part of a larger whole, not as an, I am the most brilliant person, yes, my mind, everyone must follow me. No, that will not be happening. Many a times it happens, my boss tells me, as a civil servant, I don't agree. I tell him my views. But if and whatever avenue I have, if it comes on file, I record my view and then it send it. But once the final decision comes, I follow it. That decision may not be to my liking. I must conform to the decision of the, that's a corporate decision taken by the competent authority. I have given my views. I am free. To that extent, you are free. But once the decision which has been taken, my decision doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. It is that view which I am supposed to execute. Understand? So, this is the difference between an activist. Activist, no. I don't agree. I don't agree attitude. And by the way, in the interview board, don't use the word I don't agree. Somebody tells you, and you say, and you feel you really don't agree with that. Then you say, sir, I'm afraid I differ. I beg to differ. You know, even if somebody makes a position, then don't be rude and opinionated in your response. No, sir, I don't agree. Do it. I would respectfully disagree or say, I'm afraid, sir, I beg to. Language is yours. The question is how you are saying. You are disagreeing, but disagreeing in a polite manner. That shows your personality, that you do not have rough edges. You know, rough edges in the personality is it quarrels, it cuts. When you have a smooth edges, means you are polite, you don't agree with a view, and you are not agreeing with a member of the board who is a superior. That senior, and you are expressing your views in a polite manner. Sir, you said, I respectfully disagree. Instead of, use it, there is no sort of difficulty, is it? If you can think of, instead of using the word disagree, you can say, sir, I respectfully find it difficult to agree. You know, so when, there is a tonal difference, that's all. Disagree means disagree. Fine, perfect. There's no, you don't have to have but keep that in mind, that you disagree, but you can always say that I find it difficult to agree, you know. So, UPSC looks for an intelligent civil servant who will take decisions based on evidence, based on facts, not opinionated, not an activist, is presentable, reachable, accessible to the people. That is what UPSC is looking forward to. Now you can do the introspection if you are missing somewhere in your questions, then you can perhaps find the answer to it. Yes, next question. Yeah.
Sir, is it good to take a guess to a particular question if we are not sure of the answer exactly? Or if we are not 100% sure, should we say that we are not aware, or does it put our integrity into question? What should be the approach in that case?
Look, the question is, if it is your related to, let us say, if you are from, the question is asked from engineering background. Now, engineering background engineering is science. In science, the question is asked relating to the science, then you cannot guess. You have to be clear about it. If you know, you know. You don't know, you don't know. Matter is over. You cannot try to go round about it, because people at the board are smarter than you are. They have seen life much more than you are. You are at the threshold of life. They have seen life. They are at the other spectrum of life. So you cannot hoodwink them. Understand? If it in natural science, that is your physics, chemistry, engineering, all these areas, you have to, the question is asked, you know the answer, you respond the answer. If you don't know, I'm afraid, sir, I'm afraid I don't recall the answer. I may not be able to. Be honest. Be honest. About other areas, from politics, from international relations, from national security, from all these areas, law, legal areas, there are areas where these are from social science related. There you can hazard, but you can say that, sir, I don't think I am fully aware, but it appears that perhaps this could be, but I am not sure. You know, so instead of just drawing a blank, you can try. You can try and say, but you are putting in a way, not trying to be smart and convinced that this is the answer. Don't try that. Because remember, the people in the board, they are smarter than you guys are, because the sheer fact that they have lived life more than at least twice of your age. Okay? So be honest. Be honest. Honesty is important. Chalo. Next. Yes, come.
So firstly, thank you for the general tips given. So my question is, if I have to give an opinion on something, if the board has asked me an opinion on something, and the stances of, say, the central government and the Supreme Court differ, or the central government or the state differ. So suppose I'm from Andhra Pradesh. So if the stances of my state differ from the opinion or the stance of, say, the central government, and if my opinion is asked in this scenario, how do I respond? Which position should I take, and what would be an appropriate position expected out of me?
Okay. Now her question is for the benefit of everyone. Her question is, if I have understood you correctly, that if there is a difference of opinion between the central government and the state government, and or a difference of opinion as it appears between Supreme Court and the government, and if court asks me what should I, my response would be good. If it is between the central government and the state government, you should not have any doubt, central government, because you are being chosen for the central government, civil servant of the union government, not of the state government. So you should not have any confusion about it. You may be from Andhra Pradesh, you may like what Andhra Pradesh is doing is right, but government of India policy, you have to, look, there are two things. One is a government policy, and second is some statement given by some politicians, maybe even some minister. A statement doesn't become a policy unless it is a prime minister who has said something. Prime minister has said, he doesn't say loose things. But a minister, after all, he is a human being. In some context, he will or she might have said something. That could be her opinion. You are free to agree, disagree, that's not a point, unless it is Prime Minister. But if it is a matter of policy, there should not be any confusion. If there is a difference between the central government and the state government, you are there to stand by the central government, right? Second is about Supreme Court and the government. First of all, in such it is a final. There shouldn't be any confusion about it. Because if Supreme Court comes with a judgment, that is the fine. This is what Supreme Court has held, and we are all bound to respect that. Whether it is a central government, a state government, anyone. But the Chief Justice of Supreme Court has made some observation. Delay in judicial appointment. Suppose nowadays you read in the newspaper delay in judicial appointment, and Supreme Court Chief Justice has expressed concern over delay in judicial. Now your response would be, sir, I am sure the government would be keen on clearing it. There must be something which I am not privy to, because after all there is a process, there must be a process by which the president appoints. So the government, they have to do their own due diligence, and I do not know what exactly it is. I am afraid I may not be able to say. So while you have expressed, you said that okay, you are not criticizing Supreme Court, you are not criticizing Government of India also. You only say, suppose if such a question is asked, that look, but there is a delay, and Collegium has taken a decision, and the government is sitting over it, and this is not good. Your response would be, sir, as far as we know that government has a view that, and which the honorable law minister, whenever you say minister and or chancellor, should use the honorable word. Honorable Law Minister has stated about National Judicial Appointment Commission. But so on which there is a difference of opinion between the Honorable Supreme Court and the government. Now as far as the delay is concerned, I'm sure there must be some reason, because the government might have to, would have to do the due diligence. There could be some procedural delay. That's all. You have neither to just say that no, Supreme Court is right, because I mean the government has taken a view that this is not correct. Judges appointing judges is not a good thing. But you don't have to say no, the court is wrong. You simply say that government has a view. Government has a view that the present system of appointment, judges is not good. However, existing law of the land is, or the procedure is, that the judges Collegium makes a recommendation. The government has to do the due processing, and there could be a procedural delay. I'm afraid I don't know what could be the reason. That's all. Yes. Next. Then you will come. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So my question is, like if a particular question is asked, do we supposed to give very simple and plain answer, or do we attach some recommendation of some report in order to embellish it and look it more qualitative? Does it add more marks to the question? Because same questions may be asked to few candidates. So what people expecting, some out of the box solution or what?
No, if the question is something which is based on, which the answer is based on a report of a committee or a commission. Suppose if the question is asked and about certain policy of the government, that policy is based on certain recommendations. First of all, it's a policy, you are defending the policy. But you are not defending the policy. When I say you defend the central government policy, it doesn't mean, no sir, Government of India is always right. Now that's not the point. When you are defending, you give the reasons. Either a committee has been set up, committee has given a report, court has accepted it. So when you give an answer, the answer should be backed by some reason. Answer should not be just a cryptic one line, yes or no. Or no sir, this policy is good. No. This policy is good because you know that this is a policy of the government, and government has formed the policy because of such reason. Let us say question is asked on Ayushman Bharat policy. You say Ayushman Bharat policy, if you have the data available with you, you quote it. Yes, so many millions of people, those who are now getting benefit out of it, poor people, it is an access to health care. It is an instrument, it is a policy by which the poor and downtrodden people have access to quality health care. So it is good. Not that yes, Ayushman Bharat is good. You give reason, supporting reason, but not too long, you don't have to get into it, but give reason. Not just simply yes or no, or maybe you give reason. You have to give reasons. That's, you know what? I asked you the way to your answer. The question, how you have approached the question. The approach to question, the question is asked, you have processed it, you are giving an answer. Answer has to be followed by your reasoning. That this is how you say. You know. Yeah, please.
Another one is how to balance honesty and diplomacy, like certain questions in which they ask our opinion. But do we supposed to give an honest opinion always?
No, what is the meaning of honest opinion? Give the, yeah, please. She has asked a question. Should I give an honest opinion and or what? Now, each individual is unique. You are here almost more than 60 of you. Maybe we are adding a few. Each one of us are unique in our own way. Now, what I think honest, you may not think honest. He may not think honest. What is honest? Honest, the moment is your understanding of a particular opinion is based on information that you have. If you get some more info, and you must accept and realize that nobody has got access to full information. None of the candidate has access to full information. Let us say question is asked on LSE. Okay, China has moved. How much do you know about it? You only read in the newspaper. What is your honest opinion on that? Your opinion cannot be your honest opinion saying that no, we do not know what happened, so we need to be investigated whether the Chinese really came or not came. No, that degree of honesty is not expected. That is not honesty actually. Because what we say honest is based on our own understanding of the situation. If the new evidence, new fact comes, our position will change. And then in that case, do we say that I was dishonest before and now I am honest? No. All these things are tentative. At any point of time, any question that you approach the question based on your understanding at that point of time. And then you respond. And that is why you give a reason. Saying that this is why. I am saying this because of this. Now, if the situation changes, if the fact changes, my response also will change. So, and when somebody asks you about the honest, let us say, what is your view on, let us say, the Amrit Kal, will India become a self-reliant or not? You say, my honest view is no, it will not be. This is not your honest view. This is your prejudice, I would say. Because we all have to work towards that in the next 25 years to make India. So honest view is not, no, sir, it is all a kind of a morale boosting or political slogan, sloganeering and all that. It's not that. We have to work. You don't have to be critical of the government of India policy. You don't have to be critical of Supreme Court. Opinion that you give is based on your understanding at that point of time. It must reflect that you are responding based on this reason. The new fact comes, you will change your position. You are open to that. So there is nothing called honest opinion. Yes, maybe personally you may not agree with many policies of it. And these are no-go area. This you keep it to yourself. You don't have to vent it out. No. I have my own reason to say it is not. To that kind of honesty will not work here.
Sir, if we are asked about performance of a government of India's policy, for example, if we take demonetization, so if we say that yes, it gave push to digital cashless economy, but largely, if I have the facts that largely the economic consequences were not that good, the MSMEs and all, 99% of the cash returned back to the system. So, if we have more points regarding the negative impact, so can we take that stand?
Yeah, now, Siddha, a good question. Now the question is also demonetization. The demonetization, was it good or bad? The question is asked. Now suppose if you have an input with you that it has given a lot of setback to our economy, smaller, medium, small enterprises, micro, they suffered a lot because it was essentially a cash driven. These are facts, right? When the question is asked whether demonetization was good or bad, and this may be asked, by the way, you should realize it, such a question can be asked. Your answer should be, sir, demonetization, if you look at from the legal point of view, the Honorable Supreme Court has held it was legally valid. So there is no constitutional issue or legality involved in it. Number one. Number two is its impact. Its impact, if we can think of it, it has been a mixed one. There have been certain decline, and it got some of the businesses which were cash driven, it was a setback, and such setback is expected when you make a radical shift. When you make a radical shift, there will be a setback. When you change the status quo, there will be some change, there will be some discomfort happens. But eventually it led to more and more digital economy. People have started moving toward, as a result, even today, even the person on the footpath vendor uses digital transaction. So, and today India is the largest digital commerce country in the world. Now, temporary setback is inevitable in any change that happens. Now that any change that you bring about, any radical change that you bring about, it is bound to disturb the status quo, and when the status quo is disturbed, there will be some negative aspect of it. It is given. But in the long run, yes, we have not succeeded in making a cash-free economy. Cash is there, it has come back. But the fact is that this country has become the largest in terms of digital commerce, so much so that even a footpath vendor is using digital medium for transaction. That's the end of it. Yes.
So good morning, sir. So my question is a continuation of my fellow candidate question. So there are certain issues like where Supreme Court hasn't made any decisions. For example, especially sedition, sir. Sedition, Supreme Court has shown its concern and it has kept it in abeyance. But whereas the central central government is strong on its stance on sedition. In these cases, do we have the liberty to differ from central government, or should we support the central government in these cases, sir?
Yeah.
Thanks.
The question is the issue on which there is a difference of position, tentatively, not finalized, but because Supreme Court has not yet declared sedition as ultra vires to the Constitution. But only Supreme Court has put a hold, no more case until the issue is decided. Your response would be, and this is again is a question which can be asked. It is a current living question. That, sir, while Supreme Court has expressed its concern, and concern is based out of alleged misuse. You know, when you say misuse of it, how do you know whether misuse has happened or not? Because you have no access to all the cases that happened. So use the word alleged misuse. It's alleged misuse of it, and the court is of the, it appears, though the case is still sub judice, not final, has given time to the government to review it. The government, given the circumstances in where we are, where we have terrorism in the country, where we have people within the country who don't hesitate in taking measures overtly and covertly to weaken the integrity of the country. The state, the need for a stringent law for the state is also there. Now the balance has to be struck between the need of the state to maintain the integrity of the state and liberty. I am sure, given the fact that the Honorable Supreme Court has taken cognizance of it, and the government is thinking about it, some way out will be found out to meet the need of the state and also also to prevent any likely misuse of the existing law. Now that should be that's the way you should respond. Yes, next.
Sir, as you have pointed out that the interview board is looking for a potential civil servant, but at the interview stage, with the lack of training or legal knowledge, with these humble and nascent beginnings, how is the interview board convinced of our answers? Or what part of our personality gives them rigor in our approach to, let's say, law and order or social issues, sir?
You know, interview board doesn't expect you to be expert. Interview board does not expect you to know everything. Interview board expects you to be, as I said, as a potential civil servant, you are intelligent enough to, first thing, you are alert about what is happening around the country, around the world. So you are aware of the development. You are not totally blank. It may happen that you may not recall that thing or everything, that's okay. But you are not completely blank on what is happening. So you are alert citizen. What is happening? Second is you are observant. That what is happening, you are reading, you are trying to understand based on whatever comes in the public domain, because your access is only to public domain. And based on that, you are approaching the question. That much is enough. No, but that's what I told you, that your answer is not important. It may be important, but more important is the way you approach the question. The way you approach the question is important, because there you may not, that's what I told you, there are people who have not answered large number of questions they don't know and still come out with a good marks, because there is a test of your personality. Personality is not just your knowledge. Personality is overall your bearing, how you deal with yourself, that how you look after yourself, that means how you present yourself, and how you deal with others, whether you are a pleasing personality, how do you deal with the problem, how do you approach a question, whether you are approaching the question with an open mind or opinionated mind. If you are fixated, opinionated, these are disqualified, because this shows a personality trait in you which is inconsistent with a good civil servant. If you are opinionated, fixed in your mind, that's not. You can have when you are a civil servant, you have a passion for doing something and you work. That's a different thing. But when at this stage, when a question is asked, what the board is looking for it, how are you approaching it? What is your personality? It's not the test of your knowledge. That has been tested. Keep that in mind. So nobody expects you to be absolutely super genius, you know everything, all knowledge. No, nobody. It's not expectation. Yes, next.
Sir, I have this question. It is asked to almost everyone in interview. Why civil services? Everyone says like dedication to public service. It is a challenging and enriching job, and it gives sense of purpose. But like, how can I differentiate it from other candidates? How can I introspect myself so that I can express my personality in this question? Or like, is this a question just asked for initial thing, like just to before beginning the interview for a formality?
No, what you were saying, that the question is that why are you joining civil service? Okay. The question is that you are an engineer, you are a doctor, Well, you could have served the country as an engineer, as a doctor. Why do you want to be a civil service? Some people commit the some people they say, sir, I am committed to service to the nation. I want to be patriotic and I want to serve. And look, I mean, don't try to give all these kind of answers at all. Be honest. Be honest. You say, sir, yes. First and foremost, you say, these are, as a civil service, in civil service, it gives you definitely much. You serve the country at a different scale. As a civil service gives you an opportunity to serve at a scale much larger than your profession could give you. As an engineer, you are working somewhere, you are an engineer doing great job. It's not like that. It is not less. But it comes, you may be creating some new thing, new technology, which can serve the larger humanity to a large extent, much more than any civil servant can do it. But when it comes to service, civil service gives a much wider opportunity for service, number one. Number two, you will be able to influence the lives of a larger number of people by being a civil servant, by being a part of policy formulation and also delivery system, both. You will be able to influence for the better the lives of large number of, you can touch the lives of large number of people as a civil servant. Both ways. When you are in the field, you are delivering the service. Okay? Maybe as a district collector, maybe as a district SP, wherever you are. You will be actually delivering the service to the people, much larger. And when you are in the secretariat or the headquarters, you are a part of policy formulation, which again will touch the lives of larger number of people. So it gives opportunity to serve at a much larger scale. It gives opportunity to touch the lives of people at a much larger scale. And it also adds to my prestige in my society, among my people. Don't have to be too humble enough to say, no, I am only going for service. Admit, yes, it gives us, it is a matter of pride. It is a matter of pride to be a civil servant. It gives me prestige. Be honest. This question invariably, when the board members are tired, that because you may not be the first candidate, everyone has to ask question. Just to make that, why do you want to be a civil servant? You are an engineer, Mr. So-and-so, why do you want to be civil servant? This will be many a times it will be a gap filler for them to relax also. But your answer to the way you answer will also reflect your personality. Whether this man is just trying to be too smart that, okay, I am here all, my father was a great civil servant, sir. My father, he has taught me to be in the service of the people, dedicate my life. All this nonsense don't talk. Be realist, be honest. They are all far smarter people. But yes, you must be honest in the sense that yes, civil service gives you a much larger and wider opportunity to serve the people at a scale much more than what my profession can give. It also gives me opportunity to touch the lives of, for the better, a large number of people. And it is also prestigious. Good enough. Be honest. Yes. Yeah. Come.
Sir, last year I have UPSC interview for Indian Forest Services. Sir, when I was about to enter the interview room, what I found that, sir, my legs are shaking, my voice was breaking, and my heartbeat increased a lot. Sir, please give us some tips how to be confident and set out nervousness.
Yeah. I tell you one thing, this is something which is not unique to him. Many candidates have this problem. That you feel you are psychologically disturbed when you are going to the, first thing you are waiting, the first man comes, the waiting itself all the time, it is a haunting, what time this man is getting out, your palm may start sweating and all. First thing is, if you are not doing, start doing it now. And even at that time, when you were sitting at them, you keep pranayam, pranayam, deep breathing. All the inhalation, exhalation, deep breathing, deep breathing. Remain properly hydrated. Water. Try to get a good night's sleep before you go. And an attitude that the people whom you are going to face, they are also lesser mortals. There is a novel by there's was that of human bondage written by Foster. No, what's his name? I'm forgetting the. No, being a physics student, being away, and now I think I am out of this creative life. Is getting not striking. Of human bondage is a very, very famous, one of the famous work there. The writer writes in a character, there is a big judge sitting with all the wigs and all those. And he says that his lordship, while sitting in the chair, he should also keep a toilet paper on the side to remind him that you are a human being. Now remember that people, those who are in the board, they are elder, they are not different. You don't have to, this is something which you need to develop, Now, are you developing any cold feet, legs shaking when you are talking to me? How are you feeling now?
I'm now fine. At that time, I have thoughts like I'm just 21 years old and they have combined experience of more than 200 years.
Now, if you, that's what I'm saying, that at 21 years, you have qualified for interview. In all likelihood, none of the member in the board could have qualified at the age of 21. Or maybe one or two might have. Otherwise, they would not have qualified. So have that confidence. Have that confidence. Pranayam, deep breathing, try and convince yourself. And even when you are waiting for the interview, you are there, suppose your turn will come after half an hour or maybe an hour. At that time, while sitting, instead of letting your mind cloud, and don't start thinking about question and answer, don't. Take deep breathing, have some listen music. If you have, of course, they will not allow you to carry your mobile, otherwise you could have listened to a good music. Listen to music, just relax. This is not the end of the world, okay? Suppose if you don't make it, so what? I'll try again. What is big about it? You are not going to walk into Bay of Bengal. Huh? So, there are not many people who have done great work. They are doing very happy outside. It's not necessary. So, don't think that not getting a civil service is the end of the world. No. Develop that attitude. You must realize that if you are 21 and if you have qualified, you are special. Because there are very few people who qualify at the age of 21. Understand?
Yes.
So have that confidence in you. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Next.
Sir, my question is on choice of preference. Like UPSC asks for preference of service. We tend to give IAS as first preference, but my first preference is IPS, Indian Police Service. So whenever we choose Indian Police Service as first preference, UPSC generally asks questions on only issues in the police system. we make up our mind, we prepare on efficiency of police system, but UPSC asks only on issues in police system. So how to highlight the issues, like what issues we should highlight or how to defend our stand?
No, listen. First thing. Is there somebody new in police? No. So you are not supposed to know much about how the police works except at your perception of it. Suppose if your first preference is police service, and if the question is asked, why Mr. So-and-so, why are you choosing police service? Now I will ask you the same question, tell me, why do you want to be a police officer? Or be honest, yes. Why? Why do you want to be a police officer? Yes. Now listen. Please sit down. You know, if the question is enough, say, look, sir, I have seen the police officer, the kind of direct contact that they have with the people, and the kind of first response in crisis when somebody somewhere happens. Any other service other than medical is not as quick responder as the police. Okay? So, as a police officer, I feel that I will be able to touch the lives of many people in distress by improving the law and order, which is a basic condition for anything else, for any society to develop. The first and foremost requirement is maintenance of law and order. If the law and order is not properly maintained, other professions cannot grow. So, as a first responder, responding to a person in distress, preventing distress to come, because as a police officer, I will also be able to create an environment where crimes are not committed, where the law and order is properly maintained. And I have, this is very unusual. Normally I keep my phone in a flight mode whenever I meet. Today I think I just slipped out. So, you see, I love the way you can respond directly, and look at this. The people who suffer most in day-to-day life are people who are poor, who are not privileged. And as a police officer, I can be their savior. I can provide them the succor. That motivates me. And of course, add to that the charm of the uniform. Don't hesitate in telling that. Charm of the uniform. That also. Now, a person who is privileged, person who is well off, he may not need, he will talk to somebody, he may talk to the top guys for addressing the problem. The most of the problems which police addresses are the problems which affect the ordinary folks, poor people, deprived people, and you are there, standing by them, ensuring that they don't have tears in their eyes. This is a great service, and I feel that is what I should do. Be honest. You don't have to say how the police to be reformed and all, because what do you know about police? I mean, if you were to start talking about police reform at a stage where you are not familiar with it, say, look sir, once I get into the system, I will be, but there are certain things like there is a negative perception, some policemen not behaving properly, but things are changing, and if I am inside, I will be able to know more about it. Because when you don't know about a thing, how can you comment on that? It will all look artificial. If you say, no sir, this is police commission so-and-so said that, police commission so-and-so said that. These will sound pedantic. Be honest. Tell it. Yes. Next. Yeah. क्या हुआ? It's not working?
Sir, in case of gender inequality or equality related issues, am I expected to take a stand or should I take a middle path?
Look, as a lady candidate, what is expected of you is to defend the interest of the ladies. No harm in taking a position that yes, because even look at Prime Minister in all the meetings by and large, he all talks about Nari Shakti, the women empowerment. The country with the half of the population, if they do not come up, not move forward. So, and today, the field is not level, is not a level playing field for women. Thanks to the recent initiative of the Prime Minister that we have things like a toilet in schools for girl children, workplaces, and all those things are there. New avenues are opened. But when it comes to gender related, you must take a position that women needs to be empowered, women needs to be more aspirational and come forward, for which opportunities must be given. Now, you do not have to be, while talking about women empowerment and women, more and more women coming up, moving forward, you don't have to be unduly critical to the men. There is a difference between having a positive approach that yes, this country, if we all, Prime Minister has said in the Amrit Kal is next quarter century. By 2047, India must be a fully developed country. Now, India cannot be a fully developed country if its women folk are behind. You cannot, no society can. And that is why the emphasis of the Prime Minister has been to provide more and more opportunities. Right from cooking gas to the ladies in the villages who don't have access, toilet in the houses, nutritions to prenatal, postnatal, all the cares for the growth. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, all these are essentially to build the nation. The nation cannot be built if the women's full potential is not harnessed. You know, today our workforce participation of women is far, far less than what it should be. We must. So you must take a position in support of women empowerment that is expected of you. But while doing so, you make out this case rather than women have been suppressing, men have been suppressing, men are male chauvinist and all. That part you would have to ignore it. That part, even if it is there within you, you don't have to speak out. You just put on the positive side. Yes, women have to come. This country has to be great. If it has to be fully developed in the next 25 years, as Prime Minister has said, women have to come forward, and their full potential must be harnessed. And greater emphasis for this, we have to create adequate environment conducive for their coming forward. Yes, you must be in support of women. Yes, next. Come. You can shout there, no issue. You can speak loud.
Sir, there are numerous long pending border issues, interstate border issues. And sir, there is Article 3 which empowers central government to reorganize the states. So how to approach this question related to interstate borders?
Yes. Now, interstate border we have in our country, many states have interstate problems they have. Another question, you added that central government has Article 3. Article 3 is not for central government, it is for parliament. You know. Now, in a question of interstate border dispute or interstate any dispute, water dispute, border dispute, there can be any number of dispute. Your response would be, sir, in our country, there are so many estates were created and during the estate reorganization, and subsequently more and more estates have been created, and out of one estate, many estates have been created. And in the process, there are some issues regarding sharing of resources. Resources can be land, resources can be water, sharing of resources. In this regard, there is an interstate council headed by the Union Home Minister. Interstate council is headed by the Home Minister. Regional councils is headed by the, we have several regions of the estates of the region. Southeast has the south estate, the 5 states, similarly North has different Northeast. So they have regional councils where the chief ministers of all the states are member and the Union Home Minister is the chairperson. And there is an interstate council functioning at the central level. All these mechanisms are meant to address the issue of interstate disputes. Many a times the disputes even go to the judiciary, there is the Supreme Court. Supreme Court also looks into it. So I think, sir, these issues have to be resolved. Having said all that, you said, these issues have to be resolved through peaceful dialogue. Peaceful dialogue. It is, and you can also say, you can add that most of these disputes are also as a result of inadequate communication and improper appreciation of the situation. So with a mature handling and through peaceful dialogue, these issues can be resolved. For which we have a mechanism. Mechanism are interstate councils, regional councils. There are certain tribunals which have been created by the Supreme Court over the water disputes and all between the states. So you rely on these instruments, that there are instruments, but your input will be, it should be done through peaceful dialogue. The aggressive politics by either party, it only creates problem, it does not do good to anyone. Understand? So your answer should be through peaceful process. That will be your input. Rest you will be stating the fact. Yes, next.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, suppose the board asks question on any issues. For example, issues in your district, issues in your state, or issues you have faced in police system, civil services system. So should we address those, should we discuss those issues only, or should we provide some solutions also, so that we should appear like a solution-oriented person?
Look, solution-oriented you can give, there is no harm in it. For example, let us say, you are all, by and large, except a few, you are all from Tamil Nadu, okay? A question is asked, sit down. A question is asked about Sri Lankan refugees, or question is asked about Tamils in Sri Lanka. Question is asked about Tamil fishermen getting caught by Sri Lanka. There can be, it will be state specific. These questions will be only asked, you guys would be able to, and you should be able to respond. You cannot say, sir, sorry, I don't know about it. That will not be an answer, because that shows you are not alert. These are issues which you hear. Now, your response would be, sir, these Sri Lankan people, they have refugees, those who have come, they have come under extreme distress situations. and it is a humanitarian issue. It is a humanitarian issue, and it has to be, and it should be dealt with sensitivity. With sensitivity. A large number of refugees have been living in Tamil Nadu, and basic humanitarian cares are being provided by the state government and the central government. Sorry, and the central government, and it should continue. As far as their final status is concerned, I am sure the government would take a call what should be, whether they should be given citizenship, not to given citizenship, what it should be done. Diplomatically also, we should approach the Sri Lankan government not to create a situation by which their people are forced to leave. Nobody likes to leave one's place. So diplomatically, Government of India is also, and I'm sure Government of India would be doing that. Whether they are doing it or not, you are not aware, but you add to that. I'm sure Government of India would be doing that. We should create situation for their safe return to their places, so that their future is secure. As far as the fishermen being caught, I think, sir, this is a very vexing problem. It has been continuing for long. In my state, in the families are disturbed, people are disturbed when they are caught. I think a long-term solution should be found out. Now, if you say what should be the solution, which is, look, I do not have the material because it is a unique case where between the two countries, we do not have enough space to have the exclusive economic zone. There is something called exclusive economic zone up to 300 nautical miles, which is there, which is not the case. Sri Lanka is just next door. So, I mean, there is a conflict of interest. It is a sensitive issue. It has to be sensitively resolved, but there has to be a long-term solution to it. I am afraid I will not be able to give what should be there, but their solution must be found out because it creates a lot of inconvenience, suffering to our people. It also creates a lot of, it affects the sentiment of our people. So this issue must be dealt with sensitivity, and a long-term solution should be found out. So there will be issues which are state-specific. Suppose a question is asked over Jallikattu, because now I'm asking coming to Tamil Nadu, because Jallikattu, whether it should be there or not. Now, you know how sensitive this issue is, okay? You do not have to take side either. You have to maintain, sir, Jallikattu, while there are people who believe that there is a cruelty to animal, and that is a way to look at it, but it has been there a traditional, a cultural issue in Tamil Nadu for several thousand years. People have been playing it. So it is also a very, very sensitive, and when the Honorable Supreme Court put a ban on it, there was a massive uprising in it. Because it being a cultural issue, people felt outraged that how could it be? So I think we have to strike a balance while Jallikattu should not be stopped because it is an issue, a cultural issue. Maybe we can find ways, can we make it safer and can we regulate it in a way that is not cruel to the animal, safer for humans, less cruel to the animals. Can this be done? I think some ways has to be found out. Put the answer like this. So, you are not taking a position, no, Jallikattu is if you are an animal right activist, you will say, no, Jallikattu must be banned. Now, that's not the way society works. Society does not work or does not live with a strict do's and don'ts. If it is a cultural issue, forget about it. Your logic will not work. People have been playing this Jallikattu for thousands of years. How can you stop it just like that? So, it can be, I think the right course would be to strike a balance to see that the animals are not put to cruelty and humans playing are also safe. So some kind of a regulation can be thought of. That is what I feel. That should be your answer. So if Tamil Nadu related issue, something comes, If something comes to your mind, you can ask the question. I will try to respond. Yes.
Last time, should we address the union government as union government or central government? And how to answer this question, sir?
Now, union government is not a problem. Union government, there is no issue in that. And this is a central government, union government. India is a union of states. There is no confusion about it. The problem comes in Tamil Nadu because in Tamil translation they start using as a Ondriya Arisu. Now we know that Ondriya is a structure in the hierarchy below the district, below the subdivision. We call it Ondriya. Now it is a psychologically, it is a political game of playing it down. So union government, there is no harm. ISP, I use the word union government usually. But when it comes to a place where it is translated at Ondriya, there I say this is not proper because this is only a political instigation. That is not the way. It is, it can be, the issue is not with union. Issue is with its translation in a way. Suppose if there was no Ondriyam structure in our society, there was Ondriyam is a lower level social structure. And that is why. So union government, there is no problem. You can call it union government without any fear, without any apprehension. We all use it. I also use it, union government, in normal cases. When it becomes politically overloaded, then it becomes an issue. That you are unnecessarily trying to, the finger it, trying to belittle it. That's not the way. Let us not be disrespectful. When you are trying to be Ondriya Arisu, you are trying, perhaps the intention is to be disrespectful. That is not a good thing. There is no harm. You can freely use union government, central government, government of India, whichever term you feel. Nobody will mind you. I can tell you, outside Tamil Nadu, nobody even knows it is an issue. It is only here it is an issue. Outside Tamil Nadu, nobody. I think there must be somebody from Tamil Nadu who must be sitting there on the board. No, but in that case, if a question is asked to you, that why is there so much sensitivity about union government, against union government there? Your answer should be, sir, sensitivity is not against union government. Sensitivity is, there are some sensitivity because of its Tamil translation made, where it is called Ondriya Arisu. And Ondriya is in the hierarchy. It is understood. Popular imagination, people know what is an Ondriyam. And that is belittling it. That's not the. So that is how it becomes politically sensitive. Otherwise, there's nothing wrong in it. Yes.
Sir, there has been consistent clamor across our country for statehood demands, sir. With respect to this, take us through the ground reality of Naga process and also the feasibility of Greater Nagaland, sir.
What you said, statehood demand has been, what to say again?
There has been a consistent clamor for statehood demands across our country, sir.
So many new estates.
Yes, sir. And also the bifurcation. With respect to this, take us through the ground realities of Naga process and also the feasibility of Greater Nagaland, sir.
By any chance, if somebody asks, I do not know, because if somebody is running short of question, can ask the question whether there is a Greater Nagaland. Maybe wanted to test you, whether you are sitting in Tamil Nadu, are you aware of what is happening? Question can be asked. First and foremost, you must be clear. A state, creation of new estate, there is a provision in our constitution. New estates have been created again and again based on popular demand. So there is a process by which, constitutional process by which a new estate is created. As far as Greater Nagaland is concerned, Government of India has made it clear. And as far as we understand, your answer should be that Greater Nagaland demand is based on an argument that Nagas are a distinct ethnic group, they want exclusive homeland. India is a plural democracy, plural society, where people of different communities, different stocks, all have been living together. So any ethnicity-based homeland is not in the larger interest of the country, because first and foremost, there is no place which is 100% homogeneous, only one ethnic group, one community. It is a mix. It is a plural democracy. So it is not feasible, it is not desirable. That should be your answer to this, Naga. If there is ask any question about Greater Nagaland, about Naga peace process, you say this peace process, as far as we understand, it is concluded. There is nothing much. I'm sure government have been doing it. It's nowadays, it's very peaceful. The Northeast itself is very peaceful. It's a story of development. New airports being built, road highways being built, railways coming up, five-star hotels coming up, resorts coming up. It is a story in development. So those are the old stories where there used to be violence, ethnicity, separatism. Those things have been sorted out. And thanks to all this, now Northeast is experiencing peace. Tourists are going more and more, investors are going more and more. So that's not an issue. It doesn't appear to be an issue now. Yes.
Sir,
Ah.
sir, my question is regarding the way of articulating an answer. There is only fine difference between being a and there is a possibility that different board members have different perspective about being confident. So in this case, how can I adjust my personality and how can I give a confident answer?
Look, different board members, of course, there is a possibility of different members having different assessment. It can happen. It doesn't happen often, let me tell you. Because the way you are looking at your age in life, at your age you feel that people will have. As you grow, life is the biggest teacher. As we grow in life, we learn a lot of things not out of books, out of meeting the people, out of seeing the people, people's behavior and how it is. So things are not as that they will have difference. The difference between being arrogant and being confident, you are actually peppering your answer with politeness. For example, sir, I beg to respectfully differ, or I'm afraid I don't agree with it. I'm afraid. The moment you say your body language, arrogance is a matter of body language. More than your spoken language, of course, but also your body language. You just be your natural self and be polite. And if by any chance, if a board member takes a position which you think is going to be confrontationist, by any chance, you must yield, politely yield. You don't pick up a cudgel with a board member. You politely, sir, I think I'm afraid I don't think, sir. I am competent enough or mature enough to argue. I'm sorry, sir. Politely, you just quietly, politely yield. Don't get into. Of course, they will not. Sometimes they might try to post. So the arrogance is essentially when you are opinionated. If you think of it carefully, opinion and opinionated, you will get the answer. Arrogance is, I'm right. What you are talking. No, that is not. I am responding based on what I know. If I know something more, and my knowledge is finite, I know only things limited. This humility should be, once you have this humility that what I know is not full knowledge, is not enough, that makes you humble. That there may be something which I am not aware. If I get it, I will. So I think that shouldn't be an issue. Arrogance is, when you are as I said, opinionated, when you say strong-headed, no, this is what. No, that is not the quality of a civil servant. A civil servant should not be, arrogant, should not be. And humility is the mark. All through what is expected of you is, are you humble enough to accept another point of view? 2 plus 2 is 4, so is 3 plus 1, so is 5 minus 1. So my answer is not the only answer. There can be many other answers also. Have that humility. Yes. Yes? Huh.
Sir, my question is, if the board put us into some task-based question, say if they are giving some task like you are being put as an interlocutor to deal with some sensitive issues, so how to approach such questions? What should be our mindset? How to put forth our ideas?
No, say again?
Sir, if the board put us into some task-based questions, say if they are saying if you are being appointed as an interlocutor for some sensitive issues, so how to approach such question? What should be our mindset?
Right. If the question is about any task-based, your job will be first to understand the task. You may not be knowing the task. Though your answer should be, if I am given a situation like this, first I will understand what actually the problem is. And who are the stakeholders? First, you understand the problem. Stakeholders, who are the people who are affected by this, or who believes that they have a stake in it? What are the positions of different stakeholders? Because most of the situation happens because different people stakeholders have different positions, and then you have a problem. So you understand the task, the problem, you identify the stakeholders, and you appreciate the stakeholders' position. Now, if there are 5 stakeholders and 5 different positions, it may appear as if it's a very serious problem. How do you reconcile the 5? It makes it easier for you. Because after all, many of these positions are based on a limited parochial understanding. Your task will be essentially to bring about a consensus among all that. Understand? So if a task based in a generic nature, since you mentioned about interlocutor, I am saying that, you understand the task which is given to you. You say, first I will understand the task, what it is about. Then who are, let us say, if there is a cyclone and you are, let us say you are a district collector or you are made in charge how to deal with it. Cyclone is coming, there is a forewarning, or there can be a situation when after the situation. Either way. So you constitute the team. Who are the people who can understand? Let's say if there is if the cyclone is coming, the meteorological department will be one who will be giving you information. On the ground, who are the people? Okay, who are the sort of responders to it? District administration, down the line, police, medical, fire. All these people, you will constitute the team. Then the rescue places, where should be the rescue places, evacuation, intensity of cyclone. If the cyclone prediction is that a higher order, what has been the past record, in the past, how it has affected, and what. So your evacuation, you put all these things together. The idea is when you are responding, you are thinking, you are taking stock of the whole thing. You are not just saying, sir, I will just respond, distribute relief, and I will put it on. Who are the stakeholders in a situation? Then identify those people, bring them, form the committee, form the team, and then you start addressing the issues. Understand? So, understanding the task, identifying the stakeholders, perceptions and the positions of the stakeholders, in a natural disaster, their capacity. Who can do what? Now health can deliver the health services, but they may not have the mobility. So providing them the transport. You have a doctor, you have a nurses, you have the compounders, but they don't have the transport. Provide them. You have to provide the support facility. Maybe rescue, fire. All these things have to be you given, well, answering the question, your answer will not be the final answer. But your approach to the question is that you are approaching the question in a way which you are bringing about, you are thinking and you are bringing all the people. Now this shows that this person, this candidate, he or she knows how to address the problem. If a problem comes, situation comes, how do we deal with it? How do we deal with it? What is the nature of the problem? The nature of the problem is disaster. Suppose there is a communal situation, let us say, some sensitive development has happened. Suppose there is a allegation that cow meat has been found in a temple. It can become a communal issue. Now immediately what are you going to do it? Okay, suppose you are in the administration. They get the police, get the community leaders, get the temple management, bring it, see that okay, there is control the media communication by social media, not the wrong information is not disseminated. You will start working. The moment your approach comes, then board gets a sense that yes, here is a candidate who is approaching the question with logic. And that will be here. Finally is not an issue. There may be some element left here and there. That's not it. Your answer is not going to be the answer which is going to be approaching the question. That's important. Yes.
Sir, in continuation to the issues of the Northeast, there is a problem of infrastructure development. At the same time, there's also ecological imbalance and disasters that happens when infrastructure is being developed in light of the recent Uttarakhand landslide. So how do we create the balance here, sir? We asked about it.
No, I tell you, Northeast, if the question comes about Northeast, please sit down. You should have some clarity in your mind about, you need to update. If you are reading any material, any literature, which are 4 or 5 years old, keep it aside. Because the world has changed a lot. The region has changed, the whole entire region has changed dramatically in last 5-6 years, So old narrative is not valid today. First and foremost, the infrastructure, the problem is said. Yes, infrastructure remains an issue, but today there is a huge thrust on highway construction. Roads are being built at a massive scale. This being addressed for surface connectivity. Railway lines are being extended to remote areas. So there is a huge thrust on expansion of railway line. New airports are being built. Many airports have been commissioned already. More are being built for providing air connectivity. So you have road, rail, air. Optical fibers being laid in the remote areas. So the internet connectivity. So today there is a greater thrust on infrastructure building. Yes, still there are areas in the hills where it is still deficient, but the work is going on. Now the issue is about ecological balance. That when you are building, is it consistent with ecological needs of the place, geological sensitivity of the place? All these in the Northeast, there has not been as yet an issue, major issue of ecological disaster, that something has been built, because landslide and all that you hear is mostly, now we are hearing in Josimat. Josimat is in Uttarakhand. There have been some region, maybe the larger than the capacity of the land to bear, constructions have been made. So this is not ecologically viable. So far in the Northeast, there has not been any such case. Northeast is again a high volcanic zone. It is zone 5. So it is a very seismologically very sensitive. And any construction that happens in the Northeast region, the fact that it's seismologically very sensitive, it is always kept in mind. So in the hills, there are regulations for constructions. So ecological balance so far is Northeast concerned, there has not been any major issue. As and when there is an attempt, people start making noise. You have a lot of active groups, activist group. So check and balance happens. So Northeast, that is not an issue as such so far. But yes, infrastructure is being built at a massive scale, and things are looking up. The states are competing to match the advanced states of the country. So now there is a growth and development story in the Northeast. Next. You guys are exhausted of questions or what? Then I will start asking questions.
So, in my last interview, there was a question that corruption greases the wheels of the administration.
Corruption?
Greases the wheels of administration.
Greases the wheels of administration, yes.
So, how should we tackle this question?
Look. Now, there is a theory in economics that corruption is not all that bad. There are some economists come up with the theory. It is established. There are papers. Though I am not an economist, but I have read some of the papers where people say that corruption is not altogether bad. Your position should be very clear. Corruption is an issue. It weakens the society. Society with weak morality, compromised morality, even if it grows, it will be unsustainable growth. It is not acceptable. So they may say it greases the wheel of corruption. You can say, sir, I have also read some papers. I have heard there is a view of some economists have said that corruption is not all that bad. That might be at that level. They do it, experts, they come up with a lot of theories. As far as in India, it is a deep, serious moral issue. If we accept this, then we are lowering the moral threshold of the society. Now, this is not acceptable. With all our efforts, it is not possible to bring zero corruption society. But that doesn't mean that we have to legitimize it with a theory. If corruption happens, and it happens despite all the measures, but we cannot give it a theoretical justification. Corruption, with all the initiative, all the efforts, we have not been able to make a zero corrupt society, and perhaps it may be an ideal society. But that does not mean that we give it an theoretical or ideological or economic legitimacy, because that will be lowering down the moral threshold of the society, which is not acceptable. That should be your position. Yes? Any?
Yeah, sir, a question is asked related to Hindi language issue. As I belong to Delhi and I stays in Chennai also. So how to take a stand with growing perception of anti-Hindi language sentiments in the state, if asked about that?
Yeah, being from Tamil Nadu, this question can come. You can expect this question. They will ask you, what is your attitude? What is your view on Hindi? Now, my advice to you would be that your position should be that, sir, we should learn as many languages as possible. Learning more language is only helpful. In our country, we have so many languages. Tamil is a very rich and ancient and rich language, and people of Tamil Nadu are proud of it. At the same time, we believe that if we know one more Indian languages, not necessarily Hindi, it can be any other Indian languages, it helps us in better connectivity, communicating with the others. So, while the government of Tamil Nadu has a two-language policy, you say, yes, government of Tamil Nadu has been following a two-language policy where English and Tamil alone are taught. But I believe that learning one more language, it is only helpful. We should, I think that's not a very, because you should realize that you are going to be in the civil service of the union, of the central government, not in the state government. And there, it will be good if you take a position that it will be good if we learn one more language. And if you want to be more diplomatic, to be more pleasing to the board, you can say, since in this country, the single largest number of people are Hindi speaking, some working knowledge of Hindi is always helpful. That kind of answer you should give so that you are not viewed as absolute rigid servant, because then again you will be opinionated. Remember, if you say, no, sir, we should not. I say about imposition and all, these are political noises that happens, because even I think one question that you also must be prepared about the national education policy. You can expect questions on that. So there also there is a greater thrust on mother tongue, regional languages. There is a greater thrust on that. So we said there is a greater thrust as such on learning more and more learning in mother language. The government, the Prime Minister, position has been that even the higher technical education like medical and engineering should also be in the regional languages, and that is very much good. But I think learning one more Indian language is helpful in communication, in reaching out. And since in this country, the single largest number of people, if you go by the languages, Indian languages, then perhaps the Hindi language. If one learns Hindi, it's always helpful. So don't say that, yes, Hindi must be learned. It's not say. You say it's always helpful. Put it this way. Understand? Okay, yes, is helpful that which helps us, anyone who knows the language, more language. First, your answer should be that we should learn one more Indian language. One more Indian language. And when it comes to Hindi, then you take a position that, I think, sir, Hindi is since there are larger number of people who speak Hindi in the country, so it is helpful. So put it this way. Don't take a position that, no, Hindi should not be, no, Hindi must be. Both the position you should avoid. You should avoid. Unless you are a Hindi chauvinist that you say, no, Hindi should be there. Then, of course, it is a choice is yours. But I think it's good enough you take a balanced position that, yes, we must learn one more Indian languages. It is helpful. And larger number of people speak, so knowing Hindi is always helpful. Yes. Any current affairs question you have?
Sir, in my interview, there was a question on...
You guys all seem to be quite experienced, right? You had already faced some interview. Yes, speak up.
Sir, after the interview is over, they are asking to rate the board.
Rate the board.
Should we humbly reject it, or what should be done?
Do they ask nowadays to rate the board? Is it so? Huh? No, if they ask you to, suppose if they ask, because after all, they are at liberty to ask any question. They will say, if I say night, what do you say? The choice is here. They can ask any question. If they ask you to rate, I say it's wonderful, sir. I mean, it's a privilege to such senior people. I mean, how often do we get opportunity to see so highly placed people like you people? So it's I feel fortunate to be here. And with that, when somebody says, if you like, if to I have something more, if they ask you, that means they are pulling your leg. That's all. If they are pulling your leg, then you politely say, sir, I am here, I'm just a student. I like to, because any word of wisdom coming from you is something good for me. I think, see, this kind of question, you just smile. You don't have to respond even. If they ask you that, do you like to, if you like to say anything, please. If such a question is asked, then they are pulling your leg. You just give a smile. I say, sir, I am here to be interviewed, sir. So I mean, you are the one who have to ask the question. Maybe one day when I get selected, with your grace, I get selected, I sit on the board, I will also ask question. But today, it's simply, I am here to be interviewed. Yeah.
What should be our stand on Sabarimala issue?
Pardon?
What should be our
stand on Sabarimala issue? Look, Sabarimala issue is one, you have to strike a balance. One is a Supreme Court position. Second is a culture and tradition. Similar thing happened in Jallikattu. Jallikattu, there was a massive outrage. So the government of India came with an ordinance nullifying the Supreme Court order. In Sabarimala case, government has not done that. But nevertheless, it is a cultural issue. You say, sir, I think when it comes to the issue of culture and tradition, it is, in my understanding, it's better if it is not harmful to any, then it should not be interfered with as far as possible. As far as possible, it is because a right to equality, all these things are recent. Country or society does not live by constitution. Constitution is a regulatory body. Society lives by its own norms, its own sense of right and wrong, its own tradition, its own values. If those traditions and values are being questioned on constitutional principles, if it is harmful to some, yes. Like somebody says that no, child marriage, it will be there. We know that it is harmful to the child. Child is not of an age where he or she can take a decision. Why are you forcing? No, it must, if it's a system, it has to be stopped. But going to a place of worship, where for long time people have been going, certain set of people have not been going, to say that right of equality applies and it should be allowed, I think, sir, this is affecting the sentiment. It is those who are devotees. Temple is a place for devotee. A devotee of Ayyappa will go by what has been the injunction. An activist will say, no, I will go. A temple is not a place for activists. At the same time, suppose if there is a temple where suppose Dalits are not allowed. No, this is not acceptable. Because this God is not only of one caste. The God is of all. This deity. So this preventing Dalits entry into temple, this is not acceptable. They must be permitted. They must go. But if by tradition, people have not, and even after the Supreme Court thing, if you look at Supreme Court order came a few years back, but women have not been, certain cases women have not been going because a devotee would like to go with devotion, not with a sense of entitlement and right. Understand? So I think your position should be, sir, in matter of tradition and culture, if so long it is not harmful to anyone, I think as far as possible, it should not be disturbed. It should not be interfered with. That's all. There is something, one behind? Yes, 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 yes.
So what stand do we need to take in case of?
Look, yeah, if the question is asked, I suppose it can be asked. Again, it is a Tamil Nadu, it is a very sensitive. The Hindu temples being controlled by the government. I think there, my advice, because you as a civil servant aspirants, you must be conscious of the fact that you should not behave like an activist. Understand? There your answer should be, sir, I think there is an act of the state legislature, validity of which has been upheld by the Supreme Court also. So it is being administered. However, there is also a demand that temples management should not be in the hand of this. So they also have a point, and there is some agitation campaign going on to take the temple away from the government. Now I am sure in due course some way will be found out. There could be some issue of management, mismanagement, but I think, sir, this is right now. You should not take a position. No, government must be out. I mean, that's not. You are not being an activist. Remember it. Mind it. There is an act. Act has not been held unconstitutional. So the act is valid. There is a department is working. I may not like that. That doesn't mean that you have to take a position. No, I don't like it. Your position should be, sir, I think there is an act. There is an act has got it's a constitutionally valid. There is a department which looks into it. However, there are issues and cases have gone up to the High Court. High Courts have, Madras also has pointed out so many deficiencies. I think the competent authorities should look into that. With that, you stop that. Don't take a position ki, yes, temple must be liberated. You are not here a temple activist, okay? You are going as a civil servant, aspirant. Yeah. I think, again.
Why are people from Tamil Nadu always protesting for everything? Jallikattu protest, Kudankulam protest, methane hydrocarbon protest. And he was like, what is wrong with the people of Tamil Nadu? That was the question asked.
No, if a question, suppose, if a question like this is asked, why are people of Tamil Nadu always protesting Jallikattu, Kodamkulam, then something will say language. What is wrong with the people of Tamil Nadu? Now we should realize that this is a question, mischievous question to provoke you. Understand? So this is again testing your personality. It's not, your smartness lies in not getting provoked. I would say, sir, agitation have been happening all over the country, but it's now that maybe people of Tamil Nadu, they are more emotional. You do it, but I think, sir, by and large, protest agitations in Tamil Nadu has been subject to law regulations. So, as far as I am concerned, I don't see anything wrong in Tamil Nadu. With a smile, you say, I don't see anything wrong with the people of Tamil Nadu because I think, like any other part of the country, people of Tamil Nadu also enjoy certain rights, constitutional rights, and they are as much agitations in a democratic society is a part of our life. Now, a question like this, it can be a trap, it can be tricky. You should not get agitated and defensive. No, Tamil Nadu people are very law-abiding, very simple people. No, they are nothing. You politely say, just first you smile. First you smile and say that I think agitations is a part of democratic life and everywhere it has been going on and people of Tamil Nadu also, but I think by and large, maybe if cases of violent strikes have happened, agitations happens all over the country, Some places, by and large, agitations are within the ambits of law. And I don't think anything wrong with the people of Tamil Nadu. To me, it doesn't look anything wrong. Put it this way. To me, it doesn't look anything. Then your answer should be, sir, I don't think, sir, you should, because I don't think I see anything wrong with the people of Tamil Nadu, because people of Tamil Nadu agitate like anywhere people agitate. Anywhere people, I mean, you don't have to start giving the counter that, look, there are a lot of agitation, farmer agitation, jet agitation, khap agitation, all kind of agitations are going on all over the country. You don't have to get into just with a smile, because you should realize that this is a question to provoke you, to make you, no, to expose the real you within you. That, okay, as a Tamil, you will feel bad about it. This man is saying, what is wrong with Tamil Nadu? What is this? Don't get into that trap. You just smile as, I don't think there anything, to me doesn't appear anything wrong. People agitate anywhere. No, I said, then you say, sir, I do not, are you from Karnataka? You know, you say that first and foremost you should again smile. You don't get that Karnataka is always right and all this. Not kind of positions you don't take. Because these questions are not meant to test, these are meant to test your personality. You remember it. You don't have to get into, sir, these are the issues with Maharashtra, this is the issue with Kerala, this is the issue with Tamil Nadu. You start factually counting and trying to, these questions are meant essentially to provoke you and see your real self. You just smile. I said that many states I have got with the, other states. I'm sure, sir, this will be find out. There's Karnataka. I don't see anything wrong with the people of Karnataka, but problems happens in any living society. It's part of it. Politely, you just, with a smile, play it down. Play it down. Don't get into responding to this question with details. If you start responding with details, you are trapped. Don't get into it.
FundsIndia, உங்கள் முதலீட்டு தேவைகளுக்கான ஒரே இடம். மியூச்சுவல் ஃபண்ட், ஸ்டாக்ஸ், NPS, ஃபிக்ஸட் டெபாசிட், இன்சூரன்ஸ் மற்றும் பல.